What did you think when the president cried?
I mean, this guy is such a total pussy. It's stunning.
And every time this happens, the line comes out from people in this administration and other governments as well, is that we will not accept North Korea as a nuclear-armed state. And yet it is. You also say this about other things, too. You say you will never accept Crimea as a part of Russia, and yet it is. Isn't it time to recognize these things for what they are and not live in this illusion or fantasy where you pretend that things that are not?
The short answer is no.
No, 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 no.
You don't want to go here.
Oh, I'll go down that road.
And welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Run and hide, run and hide. Now, we got to stand and fight. We got to stand and fight. Everything's crazy. But the walls are closing in on Miss Hillary Clinton. And no joke about that. So Hillary decided to break out her secret weapon, Bill Clinton. And the media swooned. Oh, where's my fainting couch? But unfortunately for Hillary and the media freaks, Bill did not have successful relations with that audience. You know what? And for the first time in 20 years, the DC media is forced to cover the Clintons' despicable treatment of women, their character assassination of women, and you can thank Donald J. Trump for that. J is for John Wayne. And welcome to Intellectual Froglegs. I actually thought it was impossible to get any more pissed off at the Republican Party, but I stand corrected, sir. Of course I didn't watch Obama's State of the Unicorn speech. The dude's a mental patient, but the Republican response by Nikki Haley, I mean, I used to like her. I'm stunned. I was stunned, but you know what? It inspired me to re-record this segment. And Nikki's speech, it was not even a response to Obama's State of the Union. It was a slap at Donald Trump, and it was a slap at his supporters. But the one thing that Nikki Haley made abundantly clear is the GOP is not interested in winning. They don't care about winning. It's a private club. And Donald Trump's not invited, and we're not invited. And then she comes out and compares Donald Trump to the riots in Ferguson and Baltimore and lecturing us on how you shouldn't listen to the angry voices. You know what? We are the angry voices. Praise the Lord, that's the ammunition. Wasn't it Nikki Haley who listened to the angry voices and banned a piece of American history? The Confederate flag? You know, there is nothing pure. You learn from history. You don't erase it. But she sounds like Jeb Bush. But you know what? This is our Republican Party. This is the state of our Republican Party. This is what they've become, and this is why they deserve to have their asses kicked. You know, if Nikki Haley wants to attack Trump out on the stump, that's fine and dandy. Go for it. But to use the Republican State of the Union rebuttal to attack our own Republican frontrunner, that is absolute BS. Well, you know what? She did what she was told to do. She did what she was told to do, and then, of course, she got rewarded. You know, the next morning she's on all these liberal TV shows, you know, Good Morning America, and the Today Show, and all that crap. You know, any of these Republicans that want to get on TV, all they have to do is criticize the few conservative voices that are left in the Republican Party. I mean, how the hell can you explain that silly fruitcake Lindsey Graham getting on TV all the time? Are you kidding me? He's just so likable. He's so smart. He's neither one of those.
I'm the best qualified to be Commander-in-Chief.
You ever hear of the DREAM Act? The DREAM Act isn't for our children. The DREAM Act is for other children that come into the country. I want the DREAM Act to be for our children.
You were dangling a participle, and I just wondered.
Well, I'll wear a long coat and nobody will notice it.
Life's been good to me so far.
They're such hypocrites and liars because, look, Trump has achieved everything the Republican Party has claimed it wanted. A massive, diverse coalition of new voters. Black, white, Hispanic, Democrat, Republican, Independent.
Donald Trump all the way.
We'll help them build the wall. I get letters all the time. I can get an army of brothers to go down to the border and help him build the wall. So not only do we like the idea of the wall, we want some of the wall work.
But contrary to the haters, Donald Trump is a brilliant man who loves his country. And one of his greatest gifts is that he understands the complex, but he has the gift to be able to communicate it in a very straightforward and simple manner. And you can tell when somebody's lying to you.
Help! I need somebody. Help! Not just anybody. Help! You know I need someone. Help!
I think you stand for everything that I want in a president.
Let's get it on. Let's get it on. Let's love, baby. Let's get it on. Sugar.
And now if you listen to our media, the president, or our establishment Republicans, the only victims on this planet are Muslims and gays. Muslims and gays. Oh, no, nothing about the San Bernardino victims or the Paris victims. No. You know what, for now we're just going to focus on the Muslims. Nobody fights the Muslims. Nobody stands up to them. They take our money, our women, our homes, and when they rape and kill, they reprimand us. They reprimand us for wanting to protect our communities. But you know what? The only way to keep Muslim terrorists out of our country is to keep Muslim immigrants out of our country. Let them solve their problem. It's not our job to solve their problem. It's not our job to risk our children's lives. We have our own problems. And it's not racist. Do you leave your car unlocked? Do you leave your house unlocked? Of course you don't, and it doesn't make you a racist. Jeez. You know, this segment's for all those know-it-all Trump haters that attack all of us that support Trump. As you know, we're a bunch of sheep, we're a bunch of idiots, a bunch of backwards hayseeds. Clearly, there's a lot more people that should be watching Intellectual Froglegs, but I digress. You know, for over a century, almost without exception, the politicians that we send to run our government never have any private sector experience or success. And some never even spent a minute working in the private sector. Yet, they implement these policies and laws and regulations that affect it. And then here we are a century later, politician after politician, and they've bankrupted this nation. We have almost 100 million people looking for work. We have almost 50 million people on food stamps. And despite the fact that one of our presidential candidates is a retirement age Forbes 500 financial genius with an unparalleled resume, these know-it-all Trump haters think supporting another politician with no private sector experience is a good idea. And Trump supporters are dumb. And what was that definition of insanity again? What are you thinking? How on earth do you think somebody with no private sector experience or success should be in charge of an economy that is dependent on a healthy private sector? My gosh, that's insane. You don't call a roofer to fix your air conditioner. And we don't need another figurehead. We need an executive. We need an executive that knows how to delegate and how to achieve results. And the Trump haters say, well, I don't trust Trump. You don't get that rich without stepping on the little people. You know, this is such an overly used, overly generalized anti-capitalism statement. And to prove it, all you gotta do, just try to name one successful businessman that's not accused of the same thing. It's just more socialist double talk to demonize capitalism, the heart of America. Now, if you have specific cases, bring them up, they're fair game. But if you're just throwing out generalized statements because the man's made a lot of money, then you, my friend, have swallowed the socialist Kool-Aid. And the difference between us is we'd rather have one billionaire sitting in the White House than 10 behind the curtain.
There is no person on planet Earth with a bigger ego than Donald Trump. Oh, maybe Barack Hussein Obama. But put him aside and let's focus on Trump. Trump's ego is huge. You know it, I know it, Donald knows it. So the question becomes, why are so many people willing to support a guy who spends most of his time bragging about himself? Seriously, if you listen to his speeches, they're all the same. Never ever does a Trump speech fail to highlight how rich he is and how he's built a really big company. He boasts about The Apprentice and his golf courses and his hotels and his best-selling book, The Art of the Deal. If Donald Trump was your uncle or your neighbor or your brother, you would have told him by now to shut up. Really, I know I would. I would tell my brother, hey brother, seriously, enough already. But just the opposite happens with Trump. Like him or not, Donald Trump is offering voters something no other candidate can, and it makes politicians and the media roll their eyes. But he has your attention because you feel it. Donald Trump truly wants to make America great again. I believe him, and if you don't, perhaps you should. And here's why. Donald Trump may have the ego of the Grand Canyon. Donald Trump's ego produces results. He says he's going to create the best TV show, and he creates it. He says he's going to write the best-selling book, and he writes it. He says he's going to build the biggest buildings and the finest golf courses, and he builds them. Trump puts his money where his mouth is.
I need to make some comments, and I do so with a little bit of trepidation because I've been fans of both these guys, big fans. They're the grand poobahs of conservatism, Mark Levin and Ted Cruz. Now, I'm still a fan, just not as enthusiastically. You don't have to agree with everybody 100%, but first, Mark Levin. You know, if you followed this show, you know I hold Mark Levin in the highest regard, I've promoted his books, I promoted his Convention of States, and I promoted his new website, Conservative Review, where he's with a managing editor or something. I mean, I was probably one of the first members of Conservative Review. And now, I'm probably going to be one of the first to cancel my subscription. And it's not because I'm some tender snowflake that does not like Trump criticism. That's ridiculous. My point is that Mark needs to quit pretending to be the unbiased conservative and go ahead and admit that he's in the tank for Ted Cruz. In the tank. I mean, it started to insult our intelligence. No joke. He said he'll go, now I'm not talking about Trump. And then he'll proceed to dress down Trump without mentioning his name. But see, elections make people crazy. They do. You're seeing it everywhere, and it's getting hot right now.
Not in the face!
But back on his Conservative Review website, aside from hiring anti-Trump writers like Amanda Carpenter, I mean, she's been flat out vicious. But I went over there to my new unbiased conservative source, and I saw hit piece after hit piece on Donald Trump. And the most mind-blowing part, actually more comical than mind-blowing, was go down to their presidential candidate ratings. I mean, seriously, go check it out. They're probably still there. Anyway, one of their categories on the presidential ratings is taxes, economy, and trade. So, for our nation's finances, check this out. Unbelievably, they have Trump tied for 4th place with Jeb Bush, John Casey, and Dr. Carson. No joke, but wait, it gets better. So who are the top 3 financial minds, if not Donald Trump? Well, of course, surprise, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, and Rand Paul. All 3 of those guys rated higher on finances than Donald Trump. That's just laughable. and it's a total credibility killer. Total. I mean, since when is it conservative to ignore actual track records of success in favor of inexperienced promises? You know, of course, to most of us that work, conservatism is what we do. Words don't make you conservative, your actions do. But see, that's kind of like these senators get paid all this money and don't even show up for work, yet they're held up as beacons of conservatism. When did that happen? I thought conservatism was about being responsible.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
And make sure you don't fall for the shenanigans going on out there, like what's his name, Glenn Beck, you know, the guy that used to be on TV that went crazy. Glenn Beck posted a fake tweet claiming it was from Donald Trump, and it was proof positive that Donald Trump voted for Obama. Except, well, it was a fake. I mean, this guy has a news organization. He's fooled by a fake tweet. But anyway, and there's also a selectively edited video being peddled about by some holier-than-thou folks, and it's of Trump 17 years ago, where he says,
I'm very pro-choice.
But then they cut out where he says,
I hate the concept of abortion. I hate it. I hate everything it stands for. I cringe when I listen to people debating the subject.
And why is this such a disqualifier? I mean, that was 17 years ago. It's not unreasonable. I'm embarrassed to say that 17 years ago, I had the same opinion. You know, I didn't give it much thought. I just figured it was a woman's decision. I guess that allowed me to appease my conscience and wash my hands of it and all that, but I've changed. I have changed. I am staunchly pro-life now, but most of us have to live our life and grow and make mistakes, and that's how over time we form our conservative opinions. And see, there's only one exception to that, and that's Mark Levin, who was actually born conservative. No joke, he was formed in the womb not only by God, but by the hands of Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin, which may explain the hairline. I'm just kidding. But friends and family say Mark actually had a copy of the Constitution in his playpen, and he was quoting Alexis de Tocqueville at kindergarten. Yeah, Mark's great, man. I mean, he's just wrong on this. I mean, you know how fun it is to listen to Mark smack down somebody? Well, it's the opposite of that when you're the target. This I tell you, you big dope. Anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Please stop by the website at intellectualfroglegs.com and sign up for the show alerts over there. They're different from the YouTube and Vimeo subscription. Sign up at intellectualfroglegs.com and donate if you can. You know, we're 100% viewer funded, you know. And if you're too broke to donate, well, that's okay. We're probably cousins. Oh, and before we get out of here, I want to invite you guys to send in a short video. And we might put it on the show. Now you can shoot it with your phone, or your iPad, or whatever device, but only 5 to 7 seconds long. Anything over 8 seconds, we're not even going to consider it. And what I want you to do is say, this is, insert your name, from this city and this state, and you're watching Intellectual Froglegs. And you can make it fun, make it funny, but it has to be less than 7 seconds long. And don't add any music or effects to it, and email them to me at jodad@reagan.com. And wear pants. Please share the show with everybody you can, and I hope you'll come back for the next jam-packed episode of Intellectual Froglegs. God bless.
British stuff. Ladies and gentlemen.